Hey guys, welcome to Smallmouth Crush. My name is Travis Manson, and today we're going to be talking about my struggle. That's right, my struggle with the United States Coast Guard coming up. So I'm calling it a struggle because it was such a process to obtain my Coast Guard's license. And I actually don't even have my license yet. In fact, I'm working on getting all the information together in the application in order to send that out and await approval. So we'll see what happens. I'm keeping my fingers crossed, that's for sure. So this whole journey really started years ago. In fact, I did go to a captain's license class and ended up going the first weekend. It was, I believe it was a 3-weekend in a row type of course. And I went to the first weekend and was blown away with all the useless information that I was going to have to know. And then I got a phone call. I got a phone call from Mercury that said, "Hey, Travis, you want to come down to the Bassmaster Classic and help us out again this year? It's next weekend." And I said, yeah, I do want to go back down to the Classic. So I bailed. I bailed on the class. I put the money up front and I said, I'm out. Peace out. I'm out. So fast forward all these years, and I've come to the realization that, hey, I really need to get this license and I need to take this class, get it done with, and move on, instead of dreading it like I have for years and years and years. So, I mean, let's talk about what is a Coast Guard license. What is the Coast Guard license? So anyone who guides in the United States basically needs to have a Coast Guard license in order to do it legally. Now, we know there's a lot of guides that don't have it, but it is what it is. I just didn't want to get caught not having it, so I needed to go through the process. Unfortunately, it's really a one-size-fits-all when it comes to the Coast Guard and the license that you need in order to do what I want to do. So a lot of people use a Coast Guard license to guide, take clients out on their boat. A ferry driver, probably. You know, those ferries up on Lake Champlain or anywhere really. You need to have a license in order to provide that service for those customers. You need a license to, operate a large yacht, being a captain of a yacht. You need the license in order to drive a freighter ship across the Atlantic Ocean. So someone who's fishing in a canoe and getting paid to do that by someone needs to get the license. And someone who drives those big vessels you see, on the Great Lakes and the St. Lawrence River and out in the ocean, you need that same license in order to do that as well. So there was a lot of useless information that I needed to know in order to pass the test, and I notice a particular color pattern of a light approaching me. I need to be able to identify that. And so I had to identify vessels such as minesweepers, which if I'm fishing and I got a minesweeper in my zone, I'm probably fishing in the wrong spot to begin with. But those are some of the things that you have to know in order to pass the test. So there's navigation, there's rules of the road, buoy, channel markers, all of that needs to be known. How many lights flash at how many seconds per what, this and that. And so you just got to get through it. You just got to put the time in. Now, if you think you're going to be able to just sit through class and then take the written exam, there's no way, I believe, you're going to be able to pass. Maybe someone has, but I know for my situation, I had to put some hardcore studying hours in, and I had to do things that I haven't done in years as far as the concentration, the memorization skills that needed to be put into play in order to pass this exam, because it's not easy, and if you don't study, you're not passing it. So the course itself is really 4 days. and then I think we had 3 or 4 days off, and then it was another following 4 days. So it's 7 days of class and then 1 day of the actual test. It took me roughly about 3 hours to go through the test. And again, there was 5 sections. A lot of it was memorization, but then we also had to do some plotting on charts, the old-fashioned way. So yeah, that wasn't my style. I kind of fought it, but I did get through it. So put it this way, if you're buddies with Christopher Columbus, then yeah, maybe charting does come into play. And I suppose if I'm out on Oneida Lake and my GPS goes off and doesn't work and I can't get it turned back on and I need to find my way back to the Oneida Shores boat launch, I could pull out my paper chart of Oneida Lake, get my compass out of my box, my ruler, my pencil, get up on the front deck and start plotting the course back to the launch site. However, I'd probably just use visual landmarks, and I'm sure I'd make it back okay. Now, some people were really digging this information, all right? The plotting side. I mean, I was like, really? But we're talking, I mean, we had some sailboaters in class, and if you guys know the sailboaters, them and me, we kind of, you know, I can't relate to that sport, I mean, at all. So, you know, there was a handful of people that just wanted the license to say they had the license. Then there was a few people that wanted to use it for guiding. A lot of them were going to be guiding on the Atlantic Ocean since the class was, you know, close to the Jersey Shore. And so really the plotting side did not pertain to me. I've never used it. I don't plan on ever using it. And there was a lot of stuff in there that you just had to keep memorizing and learning. So if this is something that you're going to want to, you know, obtain in the future, just be prepared that it's a lot of useless knowledge. And I'm not discrediting the instructor or the class itself. They do their job, and that is to get you to pass the useless information that the government wants us to know in order to become a captain. So they did a great job at doing that, but it was just so repetitive, this and that, and you know, all this information that you needed to know in such a quick period of time. It's just, I'm so glad that fortunately the license is good for 5 years, and then you just have to pay a fee. You don't have to take the test again. It's just a fee every 5 years and you're good to go, hopefully. Okay, so I was able to pass the test. They gave me a certificate of achievement. Okay, I am certified that I achieved. However, I still have to put the application together, which I pretty much have set and ready to go. But I'm going to share with you that process as well. Okay, so there was an enormous amount of paperwork that goes into applying for a captain's license. So once you get through the class, then you have to take some time and get all the paperwork right. And they say that's sometimes the biggest challenge. Because even if you miss a couple box check marks, they're going to send it back and you'll have to get it right. So I guess the first step here is really going through the official application. This just kind of does a general background check, make sure you're legit, you know, make sure you're not a pedophile or something like that. Then of course you have to get everything notarized, and then there's more paperwork to fill out. This one also too was a drug test, so I had to go down to take a drug test, and then I had to sign up for periodic drug screening as well, so they could call me in, you know, 2 months from now, and I would have a certain amount of time to come in and get that completed. Otherwise, they could take your license away. Of course, pay.gov, got to send them some more money on top of that. Okay, so this one here was actually, it's pretty funny. I have to go down to Philadelphia to find an approved physician for the Coast Guard test, or for the Coast Guard exam, physician exam. And it's like in a sketchy part of town. So I drive down there and I pull up to the place, I go through the gate, and it's like a dungeon. It literally is like a relic. It's such an old looking building, creepy. And I find my way to the physician's office, and I mean inside the lot, even in the waiting room, it was like the chairs were like, you know, from elementary school, those types of chairs, just real old. In the actual exam room, I'm talking stuff from the 50s and 60s. I'm already uncomfortable with the whole deal, and he's poking and prying, makes me pull my pants down, you know, doing whatever he can to make me feel uncomfortable. But we go through the vision and the hearing test, or excuse me, the vision and the colorblind test, and then he wants to do a hearing test. I'm thinking, okay. And this is where I was expecting the cameras to come out, like, you know, some type of practical joke being pulled on me. So I'm on the exam table. He basically grabs me by my shoulders and hoists me off of there, directs me to the other side of the room, and basically he tells me to put one finger in my ear. And I kind of couldn't comprehend exactly what he was trying to get at, so he kind of comes back, grabs my arm, and goes like this and directs me. I'm like, okay. And he walks back by the door, and I'm sitting there like this, and he basically goes, "Can you hear me now?" And I go, "Yes." I'm thinking, what am I supposed to say to that? And then he goes, "Okay, other ear." I was like, really? I go like this. I'm thinking this not, I'm like, come on. Again, "Can you hear me now?" I go, "Yes." He goes, "Okay, you're good to go on the hearing." So I guess the Coast Guard really, if you look in here, it says if you can pass a whisper test of over 5 feet, your hearing's perfect. So, I don't know. It is what it is. We're good to go. Of course, I got the TWIC, so then just making sure you're not a terrorist. TSA stuff. Maybe I can jump to the front of the line at airports. I don't know. And then, of course, the Red Cross, CPR, first aid. Got that done. We just got to bundle this all together and mail it out, and hopefully everything's right. And 6 weeks from now, we'll see what happens. All right, so we're going to see what happens. We're going to mail that in and keep our fingers crossed. So the whole point of this process is I wanted to be able to officially guide and be legal about it. And so my plans moving forward are I'm going to be guiding locally on the Chesapeake Bay, and then I'll also be doing guiding trips in upstate New York as well as back in Wisconsin. So a lot of opportunity there. Just want to make sure I got everything in order and ready to go on that end. So if you're thinking about becoming a captain, it's definitely a good idea. It's something I would definitely you know, give some thought about doing. Just be prepared and know what you're getting yourself into in the beginning. And so, you know, I wish they would have taught some more about just general, you know, courtesy at the boat ramp. Or, you know, when you're waiting in line, don't put all your gear in your boat and hold up the line. Or if it's a 2-lane launch and there's one guy in the launch in the middle of it, I mean, come on, you know, just general courtesy. Maybe touch on that instead of so much emphasis on what buoy flashes how many times and what does it mean and, you know, all that stuff. But no big deal. They did talk a little bit about safety, and I'm always about safety as well. I have been known to wear a life jacket, floaties, and an inner tube while on dry land. I don't know how that picture got in there. So I hope you guys subscribe to my channel, hit the like button, and please leave comments below, and I will see you on the water.